My name is Eloise and I'm a singer-songwriter from London, and I sing songs about my feelings.
Well, I got so drunk on that flight, couldn't tell day from night, but I didn't want to. I'm not me without you.
I mean, it's such a different experience putting music out now to how it was putting out music then, because I put my second EP out when we'd just come out of the pandemic, and you can see the direct effect that the pandemic had on the success of music. So it felt really nice to put this album out at a time where everything feels like it's a bit settled, you know? Yeah. Well, that's what everyone has to do. You always have to let a piece of you die so that then you grow a new bone, kind of thing. It's as simple as I needed to go out and be a young person and live a life so that I have something to write about. So I did. I took a time out from music, and I went to festivals, and I went dancing, and I fell in love, and I fell out of love, and it's been lovely. I mean, it always starts as therapy, but I don't ever write anything in order of the album, and I never realized there's a running theme until after I listened to the whole album, and then I'm like, oh wow, there's been a real, theme going through the whole thing. It's so therapeutic. I don't get my feelings right until I write them in a song, That's how I understand how I'm feeling. Whatever naturally comes out of me, sometimes I'll sing a lyric when I'm writing a song, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that is how I feel, I think it's pretty easy for me, just because that's the thing I've been practicing for my whole life. I've been working forever on that skill of turning your feelings into a song, I like the challenge.
But my flight's about to take off any second now. The seatbelt signs are red, the signal's running out. Oh, you know that I'm scared of heights. Even tried to miss my flight.
I've always sung. I was always like a singer when I was a little girl. I ran around singing all the time. And I think I just knew I couldn't do anything else. I was really bad at everything else. And I thought, well, I better make this work with singing, because there's no other option for me. And when you're little, you don't realize that means being an artist or being a singer. You just think, oh, it'd be really fun if I could sing forever, right? And then when I got a manager and I started to take a step into the industry, you realize the logical step is you put music out, you see if people like it, and then you put some more out. It's such a funny transition that goes on. I think people really like my music because they've come on the journey with me, from being an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old going through that kind of heartbreak, which isn't the same as when you're older. There are different types of heartbreak. And I think that's what's the nice thing. It feels inclusive, and it feels like, let me take you with me. Let's go through life together and get through the hard stuff. Yeah, I always try, because I realised I write all my songs are sad, but I'd say they're more melancholy, and I always try and make sure it's a bit hopeful or a bit calm, because if not, then you're just making people feel sad. And I'd rather say, look, to the people listening to my music, I'd rather say, it's definitely really hard. There's no getting away from that. It's just hard. But it will be okay in a minute. It'll be okay. That's the message.
And I'm stuck with all these giant feelings for you. When you get to be so damn cruel, all these...
Well, that's great that you got that. I'm really glad you felt that way. That's what I wanted. I just want to make people feel like they should feel good. Like, we're lucky that we have hearts that feel all these massive feelings, and the bad feelings are just as important as the good ones. And if you see it that way, then you let the sadness in and you let it out, you know. And that's my way of healing faster. If I try and push it away, it's going to come back 10 times worse. And I think that's what I want to say to people, is just like, embrace the messiness, embrace the chaos. It's just all part of the story. Yes, I am. I mean, there's always I think if you're someone like me who, my job is to be over-analytical, my job is to overthink. So I'm only as happy as my brain will let me be. But yeah, absolutely, I'm in love again. I live in a wonderful city, and I get to tour, and I'm so lucky, and I'm very happy. But it's important for me to not be too happy, or I can't write any songs. Well, who knows? I'm working on my second album now, so we'll see how that comes out. I don't know how it's going to sound. I know the name of it, but that's a secret. But I'm just going to keep touring this album, and I've got a tour at the end of the year in North America, and then I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to go off again and make a mess and write about it and make a second album.